Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Frog and YouTube video. My name is Pollux the Wise, and in today's episode, we are going to be diving into part 2 of the geography inside of the Kingdom Rush universe, taking a look at 3 more interesting facts. But before we get started with all of that, I just want to give you guys a quick update and also give you guys a quick shout out. Seriously, thank you guys for the support that you've been giving on the past couple of videos. Kingdom Rush Geography Part 1 has only been out for literally a little over a week now, and we're almost at 2,000 views and over 150 likes. Now, normally I don't pay attention to the number of likes or views that a video gets, but to see you guys give this much support and show in the comments section how much you guys really liked this video, it really means a lot to me, and I appreciate that. So thank you guys. Pat yourselves on the back for all the feedback that you guys have been giving. Please continue to share that. If you guys are enjoying this series, let me know down in the comments section below, and let me know what you guys want to see coming up. Speaking of what's coming up on this YouTube channel, I wanted to quickly go over with you guys the projects that are currently in the pipeline as far as content is going to be concerned and what's going to be uploaded in the future. So we are going to be starting a new series. I'm not sure when specifically about Kingdom Rush lore, so we're going to be diving into some theory and analysis behind certain parts to the story of, the Kingdom Rush universe and also the timeline. We're going to be continuing the Kingdom Rush enemy analysis series. I'm not sure how frequently, but we will try to wrap that up and get that ball rolling as soon as humanly possible. And then we also have the geography of the Kingdom Rush universe, which we just started recently, as you well know. And then the fun facts about armies in the Kingdom Rush. That's going to just be a standalone video that's just kind of going over interesting facts and features about each army, obviously. There's also the Kingdom Rush video where we're figuring out which army is the strongest inside of the Kingdom Rush universe. Now, I had actually uploaded a trailer video on my channel about 2 months before the due date that I had set for myself at the end of December of 2021. Yeah, that didn't actually end up working out whatsoever because I got miserably sick with a sinus infection, and unfortunately, I just was completely demotivated and did not feel like doing much of anything besides eating, sleeping, and working from home. So unfortunately, we had to postpone that, and frankly, there's just still a lot of work to be done despite all of the data that's been gathered on that particular video, but I promise that I will be uploading it in the future at some point, so I appreciate your guys' patience with me on that. Then, finally, there will be a poll at some point in the future. I'm not sure when, but probably closer to when all of these other videos have been wrapped up to determine what games are going to be featured on the channel after all of the Kingdom Rush content that I've uploaded is finally finished. So eventually, as with all good things, everything that's good must come to an end at some point, and such is the case with Kingdom Rush. I really like this franchise, and even if they made a Kingdom Rush 5, I just feel kind of burnt out on the whole Kingdom Rush series. So at one point, I do think it's prudent that we move on to other games, so I want your guys' feedback and opinion as far as what other games you guys would like to see on the channel going forward in the future. So, with that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's just dive straight into today's video and take a look at the first fact. So the town of, I'm probably going to butcher this name, but I'm just going to call it Soreyes, interestingly enough, stands as an acronym, or I think the real word I wanted to use there was anagram, oops, for Azer, which coincidentally happens to be the name of the desert that Hammerhold was built in. So taking a look at the map here, this is the mobile edition of the map for Frontiers, Kingdom Rush Frontiers, I should say, excuse me. And within that entire green circle pretty much contains the majority of the Azer Desert, where Hammerhold kind of lies smack dab a little bit north of the middle of all of that desert, right next to the Zaratho River and just south of the town of Lopa. Now, in that blue circle there, however, we can see a little southwest of the Dunes of Despair and northeast of Buccaneer's Den, there is a small print that reads Soreyes. So that is where that town resides, and that is where it lies in relation to the rest of the Azer Desert region. Kind of interesting, at least in my opinion. So I don't know how much it really means or is significant. I just thought it was kind of cool that the two names are an anagram of one of each other. Kind of similar to in the first video that I did on this series, Odal Farmlands kind of being, I think at least, relatively connected, at least in terms of the same name or a similar name. So now, moving on to fact number 2 of today's video, which is the Nulls Kingdom, which actually holds the record for the highest military population density out of any other kingdom inside of the Kingdom Rush universe. Now, this is actually pretty darn interesting, and it goes to show you that no matter what size population or army you have, it doesn't necessarily mean that your land mass or the amount of territory that you have underneath your control is proportionate to that number. For those of you who are unaware, the Nulls Army, when including all troops within the Heroic and Iron Challenge waves besides the main waves inside of the level itself if you're just playing it normally. They have an astounding 7,604 units at their command. And no, that does not include Bram the Beheader or High-Enha. It's none of the boss units. It's just the enemies within each wave of the levels that they appear in. And if we take a look here at this island that they're on, which I can only describe in terms of a shape as a poorly shaped chicken tender. That is what it looks like to me, or maybe it's a steak, I don't know. That is the shape of that island. In any case, you'll notice how small it is in relation to the rest of the map. And it's actually one of the smallest just land masses or kingdoms in the entirety of the Kingdom Rush universe. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Despite having such a small amount of territory, the fact that they have so many troops within that tiny area, no wonder they were able to launch such a massive offensive against the elves that lied to the west of them and their capital. And the final fact of today's video, ladies and gentlemen, is the dwarves represent one of the few races that are ruled by multiple leaders, King Banisty and King Bolgar. But what's interesting to note, however, is the fact that we're not entirely sure of where King Banisty's territory is. Now, this is kind of interesting to me, because in the paragraph here that describes the level of Rotwick, we first figure out who King Banisty is, right? So we don't necessarily know that he is a dwarf, per se, but there are some theories that definitely kind of point in this direction. So, General, our kingdom is in peril once again. King Banisty of neighboring Naroma was on his way here for the great tournament of the kingdoms, but he was captured at Mournful Valley. His people would never forgive us if something happened to the elderly sovereign. It could lead to war between our two realms. The fastest route to the valley is, I'm afraid, the royal roadway through the infamous Rotwick. Holy frog and crap. That paragraph alone gives us a bucket load of information. So first of all, we establish who King Banisty is. He's a king, right? He has his own kingdom. And he's from a neighboring kingdom called Naroma. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, just butcher me in the comments section. I'm used to it at this point. And he was on his way to a great tournament of the kingdoms, but he was captured at Mournful Valley. So let's take a look at a map of the mobile edition of Kingdom Rush, the original edition. That red circle there represents the area where the level Rotwick takes place, which is east directly of Icewind Pass and the rest of the Hakraj Nation. It kind of lies north of the Rotten Forest and the realm of Valardul, and slightly west of Lord Blackburn's castle and the city of the Necropolis. So with that all being said, here is where that area is in relation to King Banisty's, supposedly. Because if you look at the yellow area up above, we see King Bolgar's territory, at least during the events of Kingdom Rush Vengeance. So, what does this mean? Where did the kingdom of Naroma arise, or where is it from? So we have a couple different theories. And I'm not going to be able to go over all of them, and I don't want to go into too much detail, because to be frankly honest with you guys, I might just save this for one of the lore videos later on down the road. But the first possible theory that I have is that King Banisty's territory is actually where King Bolgar's now resides. So King Banisty, at least during the events of Kingdom Rush, the original edition, could have been the ruler at the time where King Bolgar took over after King Banisty either stepped down, maybe he passed away, or was killed in battle, who knows. Another theory is that King Banisty's territory is underground somewhere further east of the realm of Valardul, around the peaks of the Unending Range on the Frontiers map. Now this is a slightly different theory in the sense that if you guys look at a map of Frontiers, unfortunately I don't have one currently on hand, unfortunately I probably should have put that in, but in any case, the Unending Range is around the area where the Saurian levels are encountered. And if you guys look at a level that's known as the Dark Descent, you'll notice that one of the paths is covered by two dwarven bastions and a dwarven hall, where there's dwarven miners that have kind of barricaded themselves down there against the Saurians. So obviously we know that dwarves are miners by nature. They love to travel far and wide. And with that all being said, it's always possible that the neighboring kingdom, quote unquote, of Naroma is way further east of Lineria than it actually is supposedly on the map. I know that was kind of poorly worded, but in any case, going back and looking at it, you can see where King Bolgar's territory is. So it's quite possible that King Banisty was in charge of this region at one point. Another hint that kind of leans itself to this particular theory is there is also a level in Kingdom Rush Vengeance that's known as the Corridors of the Old City, and it's actually the second level in the main campaign. So that could have been something that King Banisty himself had been in the process of building or establishing that maybe crumbled into ruin as King Bulgur kind of took over that region. We don't know for sure. These are just theories, so don't quote it as gospel, guys. I don't know everything there is to know about this game, and I never will. But with that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I appreciate the continued support. So please let me know down in the comment section below what you liked and didn't like, and what you would like to see in the next episode. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for today's episode. This is Pollux the Wise. Peace out.